Three. Welcome, Dr. Stormie Grace.
Hi.
Today, you are the first astrologer I have interviewed. So welcome. I'm honored.
Well, it's always nice to be the first to introduce something different to somebody's world. So I'm happy to be here.
Please tell us something about you, Stormy, if I can call you Stormy,
Yep,
or
that's
Dr.
fine.
Grace.
Dr. Grace is good. Yes. So
You have a stormy name, like Tempest.
So I am a Western tropical astrologer, and my work blends between evolutionary and humanistic astrology. And
Hmm,
so that means in my practice, I'm asking two different questions and then
hmm,
using a framework to come to the answer. And that is, I'm asking, what is happening in the spiritual realm? What's happening to the spirit? What is it trying to learn? And then
hmm,
what is the human going to do with it to try to learn the lessons that the spirit needs to? So I don't practice fatalistic astrology.
hmm.
That doesn't exist in my realm. And I'm not here to tell somebody what's going to happen or what they have to do or any of those things. I more so help people orient themselves to where they're at in their lives and then participate really consciously or as consciously as is possible in what they want to become and who they are becoming. So in that, my practice is rooted deeply in fluency, right? I teach astrology as a language that people can use to, just like Spanish or French or German. Astrology is a language, and it's a language of symbols. It has grammar, it has syntax, it has symbolism, it has tone. And I just people teach people to speak that in their own lives so that they can work with it, you know?
Wonderful, wonderful. Can we back a little bit? Can you say where you were born a little bit, and then how did you encounter astrology for the first time, and what did convince you? You were born in. Please tell us about your background a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in the US and I have like a normal family, like everybody's happy brothers and all of this good stuff. And for me,
Hmm,
it was my first interaction with astrology was when I was about 6 or 7, like consciously.
hmm,
And I went to a metaphysical fair with my mother.
hmm,
And because I had already been experiencing the world a bit differently, she realized that I was seeing more things that she couldn't see, and my senses were heightened in a way where I was intuiting information or just moving through the world differently. So she was able to take me to a metaphysical fair. And when we were at the metaphysical fair, I loved seeing all of the people, the numerology, and the herbs. And my mom is a herb person. But when I saw the astrologer,
hmm.
instead of like being fascinated by it, it was more like I remembered. So it was a moment for me where I remembered that I had probably done this a million times in my life. It just felt very, very familiar. So that was really my conscious in this lifetime reintroduction to astrology. Um, and from there, I have never been afraid that I would be without astrology because it's just a piece of who I am. So I didn't pursue it like, oh, I have to do this. I have to learn all of this right now. I was able to kind of relax and breathe into it and just use the astrology and watch the sky and see where was the sun, where was the moon, where was Venus and Jupiter, and interpret what was going on. But it wasn't a I gotta do it or I'm gonna lose it kind of thing for me at all. And as I got a little bit older
Hmm.
and more consciously started to consume other teachers, one of my teachers is Stephen Forrest. Um, I feel like I just read and I just read because it felt like I was reading from a companion and a teacher.
Hmm.
And that's what it was. And then I was able, when I was 30, which is a significant time in astrology for us, it's when we consider people to be for the first time in their life actually an adult. because they're in their adult experience. That's when I launched my astrology practice as a professional officially. And I just started helping people and I started making content so that people could see who I was. Um, and then along the way, my next teacher, Noel Till, came along and brought the humanistic lens into my life. And Kathy Rose is my teacher from that line because Noel died. Um, and so going between Stephen and going between Kathy, I was shaped in that way, and it has shaped my practice as I continue to move forward. So, but to the other side of it, it's all been very traditional because I have a traditional doctorate degree in business. You know, I went a very traditional academic route with those things. But astrology it's very much so in every piece of my life.
Congratulations. So you have this very strong secular uh, career as a business lady with a doctorate. Congratulations. And then you have also this more spiritual path at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And they live together and they've always lived together. I've not ever felt the need to have them be separate,
Mhm.
And that's kind of one of the things I acknowledge with other people who are coming at life this way, or people who have been interested in astrology or some kind of creative lens their whole life, and it takes them until they're in their 30s or 40s to really come to it and be able to integrate that. I have a particular passion for that, for helping people in that space.
Mhm. I would like to know, is there some places on this earth that are more astrologically important, and have you gone there? I think you are now living in Europe,
Yep.
so please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah,
As-
so that actually comes from a branch of astrology called astrocartography.
mm,
And it really is just looking at where different places in the world interact with your chart and what it brings up or really activates in your personal birth chart. And so, absolutely, depending on what season of life you're in or what you're looking to achieve, certain places really feel good and some places really don't feel good, depending on your chart. So, as far as there being strong astrological spaces, that is actually very independent. It's going to be individualized based on the person. Because we know that in a place like Arizona, they
mm,
have vortexes in Sedona. That
mm,
doesn't feel good to everybody. That's not the best place for everybody. And then other people go there and they have a massive enlightening or some kind of experience. So when we're talking about places being astrologically strong, it really comes down to the individual chart. Now, other ways to view this is what makes a space really astrologically strong is if
mm,
you can see the sky without light and sky pollution. That is an astrologically delicious place because then we can do what we do, which is watch the sky,
mm,
right? So, in every sense, that's going to be great. But how it impacts a person, that will depend. In my case, when
mm,
I was living in the United States, it was fine and it activated certain things in my chart, but it also had more activation for the very masculine energies in my
mm,
chart.
mm,
Which was good because the United States is a place where you have to build, you have to strive, you have to do those things to really be kind of comfortable there. And as I came into Europe, it activated more of the feminine portions of my chart. And
mm,
so I get to move more freely. Like I call it living in cursive. I get to live in cursive over here, and it's lighter and it's easier for me. But
mm,
when I was younger,
mm.
I might not have done as well in Europe at that time. We can't really say, but I can tell you that they both have a different energetic impact on my and anyone else's chart as well.
Thank you. So let's say, but let's say in Europe there are many pilgrimage sites like I don't know in Santiago de Compostela or do you think that they are astrologically more important? Do you think these, I don't know, Roman Catholic sites or any other pilgrim sites? Are you drawn to these places, or are you only looking into the stars, so to say?
No, I think this has been my experience and my experience with my clients is that
Mm,
there are these places that seem like they're astrologically significant, right? Like the
mm,
pyramids or
mm,
anything built with a point is actually a great example of something
mm,
that has astrological significance because the points of those buildings are going to align with the star Sirius. And Sirius is a pretty big deal for us, right? So if
mm,
you've got something in your country and it's got a point to it, it likely is going to be in some kind of alignment or have some kind of pull to that direction. So that we can say is astrologically significant, but not every person is drawn to the astrologically significant spaces, which is why I don't say this is really a really important space because it really might not be in your chart and in your life. The most important place for you might actually be where you are living, and that's what matters is the astrology in context. What are we trying to learn here, and what is the source we're looking at, how it's being impacted? And that's really important to because it helps us also understand that astrology is not one size fits all.
mm. And I'm curious, and I know all our listeners are curious about your astrological sign. You don't have to reveal too much, but whatever you want to reveal. What is your astrological sign?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I am a Virgo rising, a Taurus sun, and a Libra moon.
Hmm.
So I have actually a lot of Venus in my chart. I'm very Venusian.
Interesting, interesting. Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, for me too, actually, because I'm a Libra, and Venus, of course,
yeah,
governs Libra. I'm a
yep.
Libra with ascendant Leo. So for some reason, we both have Venus very strongly, and I had some supernatural experiences, so to say, with Venus, Aphrodite. And
Uh-huh.
but I will not speak about it here. But so Venus is important for me.
It
Uh,
is, yeah. The ruling planet is always going to be important. And it's interesting to note,
mm,
we are not naturally innately good at our sun signs. Most of us have to actually grow into it and
mm,
learn with it. So, learning about how to be a Libra or learning how to be a Taurus or learning about Venus for both of us is an experience. And we can more consciously bring that in depending on our charts. But that's kind of, it's neat to know that, right?
So Virgo is important for you, of course. And I know, for instance, during the Middle Ages and Renaissance, Virgo was important because it was the symbol of Virgin Mary.
Mhm.
I think,
Mhm.
can you relate to that?
Well, it's more like because Virgo's my rising sign, and your rising sign is
Mm,
kind of where people meet you first.
mm,
So if someone is just meeting me in public, they
mm.
meet my Virgo before
Ah.
they meet my Taurus, right? They're
Mhm,
gonna go, oh, she appears to be these things. She appears
mm,
like a Virgo,
mm,
right? But over time,
mm,
once you kind of get away from my gatekeeper per se, and you get
mm,
a little closer, you get to know my Taurus. And if you get close enough to me, you'll get to know my moon in Libra, right? So it's kind of the way we meet and we rise onto each other. So I rise like a Virgo on most people.
Nice. Um, do you have a favorite astrological book?
Yes, I do. Finding Our Way Through the Dark by Demetra George is my favorite astrology book.
Finding Our Way. Hmm,
And close
thank you.
behind that is The Book of the Moon by Stephen Forrest.
Ah, okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, and do you work with crystals? Is it important for you?
I
No.
don't I don't work with them. but I
Mm.
understand where the connections are based on different signs or different seasons, but I don't work with them personally.
But you mentioned your mom, she works with herbs, but not
Mhm.
astrologically, perhaps.
Right. My mom is more of a, like, she just asked me about the astrology, but in terms of herbs, my mom is also a Taurus and
Mm.
she is good at getting her hands into the ground. And if there's a plant that is dying or hurt or knowing what herbs you can eat, things like this is where she is really, really based. She's amazing at that.
Um, Thank you. So, in the Bible, there is the story of the wise men who
Hmm.
bring gifts to Jesus, and there are many interesting stuff we can learn from this story with the three wise men. And one thing that is interesting is, let's say, the Bible doesn't say if they were astrologers or astronomers, so they were probably both. And how do you see this distinction, or do you see any distinction between astrology and astronomy? How do you see these two fields? Is there polarities or?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting because the way I see it is that
Mm,
they need each other. You know,
mm,
we have astronomy
mm,
itself, which is looking at the sky and seeing what are the different positions, and then what is that that is glowing? What is that that is doing the thing
mm,
in space? What is it? How is it made up? Is it warm? Is it bright? Is it right? It gives us these kinds of context to it. But then what does that body do for people, for oceans, for countries, is where
mm,
astrology comes through. So it's almost like, to me, I feel like they benefit from each other
mm, mm,
because
mm,
we have one that if we didn't have astronomers,
mm,
how would we know the Venus is the type of planet that it is? How would we know about Saturn's icy rings? We wouldn't because astrologers can't see that. We
mm,
can't see that, but we can understand more about it once the astronomer tells us the light, the shape, the placement of where these things are. And then astrologers become pattern trackers and historians. And we follow every time Venus gets into this position in the sky, what are the things that start to happen down here? And what starts to happen to people down here? So,
mm,
in my view,
mm,
they very much so go hand in hand.
Yes, I think so. I agree completely. From quantum physics, we have entanglement, the concept of entanglement. So to think that the scientist, the astronomer, is only looking at the stars without any connection, so to say, I think it's an
Mhm.
illusion, modern illusion, because
Hmm.
everything is entangled. So
Hmm.
you need your body to interact. And
Absolutely.
we know that the observation is important also in science. It's
Yeah.
very, very important. So,
Yeah.
but let me go to next question. But still, we let's reflect on the three wise men. Or they bring gifts. They bring gold, and gold could be symbol of money. And have you, do you think that following the stars or the planets, it has helped you economically? I do think it is wise. Can you give some concrete example, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of using the astrology to look at or to work on different areas of life,
Mm,
um, yeah, you can learn to do better in any one of those areas. Like if I was going to, let's say in my personal chart, if I needed to put out an offer to
mm,
my clients and I wanted to bring more inflow of money towards me,
mm,
I'm not going to do that at a time where the ruler of my money house is asleep. I'm going to do it when the timing of the ruler of that portion of my chart is the most awake, is the most vibrant, has the best connections astrologically, because energetically it's more sound and ready to receive. right? As opposed to if it is a time where the ruling planet of my money house is asleep, what I can do is an amazing amount of customer service and make sure my clients are happy, they have all of the things that they need, and I treat it as a time of review. Because really, whether it's looking at money or it's
Mm,
looking at health or any of these areas of life,
mm,
what what I see astrology is an understanding of the seasons and the timing. Sometimes it's time to move, sometimes it's time to rest. Sometimes something is very alive, sometimes something is dying. And we can watch that energetically and see how that coexists. It also puts us in a position where whatever we're trying to look at to bring or to into our lives or get rid of,
mm,
it gives us a relationship with life and death, right? That not every season is on and alive. Sometimes it's a season of dying off, and that we have to walk through that as well. So yes, can you use it for having more money in your life? Yes. Just as well, if you don't understand or use it well, you can use it to lose your money,
mm,
for
mm,
sure.
mm. And can you give some concrete example how for your own life how you followed a certain and which planet would be the most important for money? Is it Saturn or?
For sure, Saturn's a structured planet. So depending on what Saturn is doing by transit and what it's doing in your chart, I'm going to look to it because Saturn tells me a lot about how disciplined you are and how your discipline shows up. And
Mm,
depending on what kind of changes you're trying to make in your life, particularly around money, you may need to tighten up your discipline or you may need to loosen it. I'm also going to look to planets like Venus, and I'm going to look to planets like Mercury to see what's happening. And then I'm going to look into certain houses in your particular chart. Like if your second house ruler is Mars, I'm
mm,
going to watch what Mars is doing in your chart, and I'm also going to watch what Mars is doing in transit because I want to know how your particular chart is going to vibrate. But in addition, I'll consider what is Saturn doing? What is Mercury, our planet of commerce, trades, buying, deals, selling? And what is Venus, your planet on how you receive and call money to you? I'm going to see what they are doing. Mhm.
okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. And what about well-being in general? So it's Venus that governs it.
It can be. I'll need to see the ruler of your health houses. So I want to see your sixth house. I want to see, for me, I want to see your third house. I want to see your 12th house. I want to see how these particular houses are going. Depending on the other questions we're looking at for well-being, I may look at your first house and the rulers of those house. But when it comes to your well-being as well, the planets represent something different medically. They represent different portions of the body, which is handled under medical astrology. So we're going to look and see what is based on your chart, the general sentiment of your body. Is your daily routine, your body more moist? If
Mm,
your body's more moist and you continue to try and dry it out, we can tell you right there you're going to start having problems, right?
mm,
Or if your daily routine that you need to actually have a steadier well-being needs a lot of change in it, and you keep trying to hold steady instead of allowing yourself to have the changes that need to happen all day long, we're going to have a conversation about let's see how we can bring some movement into this particular area. And the condition of your sun. How is your sun sign? Are you treating your sun energy? This is your vitality. So if your sun
mm,
energy is not being treated well, you're going to have more problems.
Thank you, thank you. Mm, I want to ask you about Saturn and Venus. We know that the Greeks and the Romans worship them as gods. Do you see, is there, do you believe there is something in it that they are not only planets but gods?
I don't see it that way, but I do understand the cultural understanding of what was happening at that time. You know what I mean? Because they were
mm,
sky watchers. They were watching these celestial beings that were much bigger than them, and that whether or not they wanted it to, when Saturn and Venus did something,
mm,
something was happening down on Earth. And at the time, to
mm,
call something a god made a lot of sense. I don't see it so much that way, but what I do understand is that we are made of the same matter, but the
mm,
planets hold a bigger vibration than we do. So, kind of like a guitar string, if you strum that chord, that vibration is going to go through the whole chord, right? And
mm, mm,
whatever is on that chord is going to be affected. So, when somebody or when something happens to Saturn,
mm, mm,
we're all going to tighten up. We're going to all get on the Saturn cord. And the parts of us that need
mm,
Saturnian attention or that don't match Saturn's vibration are going to be moved around until it does. It's like tuning, right? And the same with all of the planets. That's
mm,
why typically what we see in astrology is if one of our outer planets or one of our transpersonal planets, so let's just talk about Saturn, when
mm,
Saturn moves into a new sign,
mm,
all of the things that need to vibrate at the tune of Saturn in Aries,
mm,
it's going to start to mess up all the things in your life that don't fit that vibration. And it's going to say, tighten that up or get rid of it,
mm,
right? And all of our planets do that to some degree as well. And then when it gets tuned, that area of your life
mm.
flattens out and gets easier. So it's kind of, I see it like that, not so much as it's a God, but
Mm,
certainly it's an energy that is bigger than we are. So when
mm,
it does something, we're going to get the vibrational resonance of that.
Thank you. Would Saturn represent, I don't know, money, or how would you see it as a planet?
It,
I know.
oh,
During the Renaissance, Saturn was very important for several reasons. It was the symbol of melancholy and so forth. But I don't know how do you see Saturn?
yeah, I see Saturn as our planet of structure and our planet of maturity. Right?
Hmm.
So wherever Saturn is at, we're going to need to demonstrate putting some kind of high level maturity in
Mm,
place at that particular Saturnian point. Now, that can mean, depending on the degree Saturn's at in your chart or how experienced you are, Saturn can be interacting with something in your chart and you've really matured. You've got it. You have the emotional, material maturity to
mm,
to demonstrate mastery because Saturn wants mastery, right? Or you haven't got it just yet, so you're going to work your behind off. It's going to be hard until you can you can show mastery in that area. And mastery can look like a lot of things. There's some kind of discipline that typically comes with it. There's
mm,
some kind of lessons that really make you grow up, because Saturn is not, it's a very concrete grow up kind of energy, or we need high level authority and mastery here. And depending on, where we are, let's say, for example, someone has Saturn in their 10th house of their
mm,
chart. They could, depending on where they're at in those lessons, go on to be an authority in their career, in their work, to hold a very strong position. However, let's say that that person is not mature. They haven't learned the traditional lessons of work ethic or something in work. That area of their chart will likely be challenging, but we
mm.
know what the challenge is based on where Saturn is placed in the chart. So we can say, let's make a plan for how you grow into the maturity of your work or your public reputation space of your chart. And that's where I think astrology is amazing because it allows us to do some of the same things they do in psychotherapy, therapy, all of these things, but we do it quicker because we just grab a chart and go, it looks like it's right here.
Oi,
You
oi,
know,
oi, it sounds really amazing. I agree. Um, I was listening to your latest video, and there you mentioned Lilith. And Lilith, for me as a biblical scholar, for me it's yeah, but I don't know if Lilith for you is the same thing. So could you please explain why did you mention Lilith?
Wait, why did I mention what?
Lilith,
Oh,
Lilith.
Lilith. Yeah. So
Mm,
Lilith is not a base of my practice. Lilith is not a base of my practice, but as an asteroid body,
mm,
sometimes when Lilith comes into connection,
mm,
particularly at times of big change,
mm,
I think it's worth looking into. But if you were to look at the base of my practice,
mm,
that's not a base of it. But I did bring it up this time because we're seeing a lot of people come in contact with ways and needing to tell some deep truths about where they've betrayed themselves, right? Where and it's not a universal collective betrayal. It's something we have done to ourselves and needing to address that so that we can step forward and let Lilith be in the state of liberation. Like it's a reclamation energy when we use it correctly. So, particularly
mm,
at the eclipse we're getting ready to have, Lilith will be shifted back into the vibration of Scorpio. So we're going to have these stories of where I have given my power away, whether consciously or unconsciously, but it's usually presented itself quite consciously. We're going to look at stories of where I've avoided conversations about death, where I've avoided passion, where I've avoided things about sexuality. All of these things come up for us as Lilith is activated and putting some pressure on us. And when we get to the side where we can acknowledge that we have abandoned and betrayed ourselves in that way, we get to, for this particular transit, we can use the eclipse to make a start
mm.
to stop living in the betrayal, to start living a different way. We make a start at a solar eclipse. And over the next 6 months, we can start to see ourselves outgrow that betrayal, acknowledge it fully, and live differently. So, yeah, Lilith is not the base of my practice, but every here and there, one of the asteroids will really show up, and I can see it
Mm.
ringing in the collective and ringing in how we can guide thinking about what the work is we're being asked to do in the collective and in our personal charts, and I will bring it in.
Is it possible to say that Lilith is the shadow side or no?
I wouldn't say that Lilith is the shadow side. I
Mm,
think that, I mean, I understand the sentiment, but I think that Lilith is just the honesty of where
honesty.
you have so much power, but you
Mm,
might be afraid of it. And
mhm,
so what we might do is in that betrayal, put it into the shadow capacity. Because you
mm,
can also live a very empowered Lilith as
mm,
well. But it may be more challenging because, when we think about the story of Lilith in general, Lilith was Adam's first wife, and
mm,
God was saying, you should serve Adam. And Lilith said, absolutely not. I'll be doing my own thing.
mm,
So in
mm,
that way, in our lives, this is the area of your chart that is like, I don't care. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. And if you condemn me for it, I'll get louder and I'll get darker.
mm.
But if I can meet my own needs and not betray myself in that way, that can be very, very empowering in a chart.
Mhm, 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 mhm. Okay, so what is happening in 2026 in the world? What
Oh,
would you say?
everything. Everything is happening this year. It's a big year for us. It really is as a people, as a global people. 2026 is a big shifting year for us because we have all of our major professor planets, which is how I teach them. Our outer planets are all shifted into new signs. And when this happens, we bring about an entirely new world. We usher in a new world. Now, the thing I try to remind people is that yes, The world is not just shifting, it's already been in its shifting, it's changed.
Hmm.
2026 globally will bring, we are in a different world. We're already there. And we will continue to adapt to learning how to live in that. But the thing I try to remind people is that as human beings, we have done this many times. That's why we're still here, right? Because people can greet this new world with a lot of fear, of course, right? But it's not entirely necessary because we continue to make it through this. But in terms of 2026 and our outer planets shifting, we are coming in with our outer planets in masculine signs, which means we will build and we will do. We are going to construct things. We're going to construct a different world as well. It's fire. We move to the space of fire and air. So we have movement and thought. These are the things that are of utmost importance. And when we compare it to where we've been previously, where we were in earth and water, and it was creating containers and structures and having these kind of incubators for humans to build something solid out of, which we like. We like to be able to touch it and call it solid and call it stable. Now, the way
Hmm.
that you exist moves to the air, where there's no container. There's
Hmm.
no real structure for you to live in. It has to do with being able to hold high levels of uncertainty while we build in the air and with the speed of fire. And so for the human psyche,
Hmm.
first of all, on an individual level, that can be very challenging because it means I don't have a container to know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't have a container to know if I'm okay. It's a
Hmm.
high level of uncertainty. And then we add that into the collective. And
Hmm.
now we have a whole world of people who are having to now move and think differently and all hold uncertainty and speed at the same time. So, astrology here offers some language with how to move with that without giving full amounts of certainty, but we show you how to ride the wave of what's happening in the new world at this time because it is completely different.
Thank you, Stormy. And I will show you something. I don't know. Do you use cards, oracle
I
cards?
don't.
So no, you don't know.
I don't,
Um,
but I know about the 12th cards for sure.
um, all the cards have
Mhm.
astrological symbol. So I thought that I would shuffle the cards. Ask a question, let's say about 2026 for the world or for Europe. Let's say for Europe, uh, and then we could speak about the card together, whatever.
Go for it. I mean, I
So
don't
with your
use them,
parents.
but we'll see what happens. Let's go.
Let's go. So I will take the cards. I have them here. I will shuffle them and I will ask for a message for, let's say, Europe for 2026. Is it okay? So please, message for Europe for 2026, one card only. So one card for Europe for 2026 for the following, I don't know, 9, 10 months. Okay. I'm shuffling. I try to have them in the same direction. The same
Give me
direction.
something
Okay,
to
so this will contain the answer. So
Okay.
here, let me see. Ah, science. Oh, yo, interesting card, science.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. In terms of like what the cards actually mean in terms of their direct correlation with astrology, I can't tell you that because
You
I'm,
know, so there is actually a astrological sign there. I think
yeah, it's Mercury.
Mercury. Oh, why do you think we got Mercury?
Well, because there's going to be a massive amount of information, and one of our outer planets that set the stage globally is
Hmm.
moving into Gemini, who is ruled by Mercury. So, new information and information at the speed of light. As well, the Pluto has moved into Aquarius, which is also ruled by Uranus, that's in Gemini. They're both air signs. They both have to do with information, science, advancements, AI, technological advancements, aliens, or what we consider to be alien, foreign things, astrology, and the arts. So I think that's cool that you're pulled the science card. I suspect we will see many
So
advancements.
I can actually read. This is so. This is from this. There is a instruction.
Uh-uh.
Um, with your permission, swords, page 66. So it's a six of swords. Six of swords. Science. Okay, different in the suite of air, Mercury in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, as you told us. The let me hold it here. The ornamental hilts of the swords form a hexagon in the card. So, yeah. The points touch the outer petals of the red rose upon a golden cross of six squares. Hmm. The perfect balance of mental and moral faculties. Hardly one and impossible to hold interprets the idea of science. Meaning, success after anxiety and trouble, self-esteem, beauty, conceit, hmm. labor, work, journey by water. Okay. So, interesting. Beautiful
Yeah.
card. So, so now I will ask you actually the last question about your plans for this year, 2026. Are you traveling somewhere? Or are you publishing a book, or what are you doing?
Yes, I am. I am doing all of those things. I am promoting a book that comes out in May of 2026, and I am writing another book which will come out in 2027.
Mm.
Um, in addition to, I will travel and teach internationally at several places this year, which is pretty normal for my work. I'll continue my YouTube channel, which is always going on, and continue to teach. So that is what 2026 has to offer, professionally, that's what it has to offer.
Great. I will quickly share your homepage here with your permission here. Here they can see Stormie Grace uh, about you. It's a
Yeah,
wonderful homepage. Mhm.
brilliant. That's me. Come visit, everyone.
So
Come buy
please
the
check it
book.
out. So stop share. So I will wish you good luck and many much success and happiness and joy.
Yes, thank you. I will receive it. I breathe it in.
So
And good
thank
luck to you.
you, thank you, Stormy, and God bless you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye.
Goodbye.